Well, hello. Hello, hi. It is me. It is I, Small Town Didi, your Khadim. On these your internets. Akastracha, I'm back. Hello, Yella. Listen, it's been hookup culture, and I didn't know where the Khanesi of it was, but I could tell it was in response to something. So in another person's video, when I opened, somebody actually said, the fellows take blah, blah, blah. Then I clicked on that. Then I was like, oh, the originator of the chat, it's not a new chat, but the person that brought it back up is this young lady. I don't know if her content is just makeup and then she gives her little spiel while she's doing her face. Her beats are crazy. They look so cute. But anyway, this is what the fillet to say, and there was a follow-up to it, and it's been a this on the TikToks. So let's have a look.
You sleep around because you do not love yourself. Unfortunately, our generation has really normalized hookup culture. We have normalized sleeping around and sleeping with people that you don't even know. People go to the club nowadays, they meet someone that they're physically attracted to, and then they just sleep with them. Don't get me wrong, I am all for sexual liberation, okay? But the rate that our generation is going, firstly, there are so many reasons why you shouldn't be sleeping with someone that you just met. As cliche as it sounds, you do not know them. You don't know what diseases they carry. You don't know what energy they carry. You know nothing about them. You only know as far as they have told you about themselves. Also, being a man that sleeps around does not make you the man. I promise you, we are way past that. If you are a man that sleeps around, we see you the same way that you guys see a woman that sleeps around. It's so crazy how this thing is only imposed onto women and it's rarely ever imposed onto men. Every time a woman sleeps around, they're going to say that she's very easy. And you know who says all these things? You guessed it, men. Almost every person that I've ever spoken to that has been partaking in sleeping with a lot of people that they don't know always says, I am just a girl, or I am just in my 20s. Your 20s are for living. Don't get me wrong, your 20s are for living, but there's a fine line between you living and you ruining your future. You can live, you can go out and party and do all these things that you want to do, but you don't gotta take it that far every time. I've never spoken to anyone who used to sleep around who actually said that they would do it again. I'm not saying that your 20s should be boring, but I'm saying that there's more to your 20s than you being a victim of hookup culture. Right now, I'm specifically talking to my girls, okay? You don't want to look back at your 20s and all you did during your 20s was chase after men and sleep around, okay? Because I promise you, some of these mistakes that we make in our 20s are irreversible. And just like that, we are done. I look good, I feel good, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys in my next one.
I think I remember I've probably had this conversation with you guys several times. I touch on sex here and there a bit. I've explained, but the numbers have grown a little bit and there's new people here. So you guys will hear me repeat myself every so often when I talk about the friends with benefits that I had. We weren't friends, but like the person I was hooking up with, but I didn't yearn for anything with them. Neither did they with me. We were fucking, like we were hooking up. And then there was a period of the hooking up on and off with this person where I was no longer really in it. Like, and I don't know how to explain this, but it wasn't them. And it wasn't just my experience with them. And it was a me thing, right? So then I had to figure out why I was doing this, why I kept at it, even though I walked away from it feeling empty. Like I walked away from it not feeling what I thought I was going to get. It was not doing that for me. And it turned out I was looking for intimacy. Like it turned out when I was looking to hook up, like in the beginning, it was hitting the spot. It was doing the thing it was supposed to do. Then at parts when I continued to do it, like when I would be feeling away and then, he'd hit me up or I'd hit him up, it would be to do something else. It's almost like akin to the alcohol. Somebody said in a short that I posted that they realized that they really use it as a pacifier. I had to come to terms with that I am yearning for an intimacy of sorts and an escapism of sorts. And I'm no longer just looking to hook up because I'm horny and I want to fuck, right? That's not what I'm looking for right now. Then I stopped because that's not what I was looking for. What I didn't do is regret the times when I was hooking up for the fact that I want to fuck and it was hitting the spot because that's what the fuck I was trying to do then. And I say that to say when people talk about nobody looks back on their, younger years and they were hooking up with people and they are proud. I experience no shame because I've decided that I'm allowed experiences. Like that, maybe that's just a me thing. I don't have the shame. I'm not the fearless age. I'm way past that. And I don't have the shame of having hooked up with anybody, not hooked up, gone all the way, gone some of the way. And that only happens when you do the work. If you are a grown ass woman and you are going through your life with this line of thinking, you are the type of person that then puts this kind of pressure and helps to perpetuate these kinds of teachings onto younger women because you feel a way about what you did or the experiences you allowed yourself to have because that's the space that you were in and you allowed yourself to live and you weren't harming others. I was not hurting anybody. Like I was not actively harming or hurting anybody. I was being responsible in how I was going about it. I think maybe the language is also getting tricky because the term hookup itself is getting muddy. Because I was like trying to follow along. Other people, when they talk about hookups, they're talking about the exchange, like, prostitution work, right? Which is a profession to me. That's what other people refer to when they're saying hookup culture. So I think it was getting a bit muddy. It was getting a little bit messy where it's like, what are we talking about? But I've deduced here that what we're talking about, if we're going to run with the fellas video, is that you go out, you meet people, you like the vibe with this person, you go home and y'all get it on like two consenting grown-ups. And then in the morning, you're like, oh, cool, that's all I really wanted from you. And then you get on with your life. I think the teaching of responsibility, I thought we learned our lessons around the campaigns with the HIV, but there's a regression. Something has happened here and it's scary. It's scary to look at when we regress into our conservative bags and the teaching becomes that of abstinence when we know that's not what human behavior has like shown us. We're gonna want to do this thing. We're gonna want to experience these things. You're gonna have a lapse in judgment, hook up with the person you don't really, in the morning, you're filled with a little bit of regret and you're like, damn it, man, like, oh my God, alcohol, blah, 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 blah. But if the teaching is the constant or just don't do it, then there aren't precautions being taken. Like, I don't think we really truly understand what we're doing with this conversation. I don't think we do. I don't think we understand how far back we're taking. Then nobody's walking around with condoms in their wallets anymore. Right? Because we're all such good girls and I'm not even going to leave. And then you do. And then nobody's prepared for that moment. Right? But you still go through with it and you do. And then the numbers start to look what they look like with the infection rates and the STIs and all of that stuff because the talk is around, oh, be pure. Don't, you're gonna. Do you know the throb, bitch? What the hell? Let's talk about the throb. Let's talk about the throb, bitch. You can't like it, the clit pulsating so loud you can't hear shit else. Oh. And there's an attractive person here in front of you and you're young and a lot of you are on here and the worst thing ever has happened to us, right? Your phones are charged. That's the first thing. Second, you've got access to the internet. That's the worst thing. And you're over here on the internet acting like the throb is just so foreign to you. Oh my God. Trying to shame young girls instead of empowering them. If they're gonna go down this path, equip them to be responsible. This conversation is not helpful. I don't know what to tell you. You're not safe. The fellow had a response to this video where she talks about people are shaming her for having this take because she's living with her boyfriend, and people are saying, if you are this conservative in your views around people hooking up, why are you then at the age of 22 cohabitating with your boyfriend and he hasn't married you.
People trying to come at me for living with my boyfriend at the age of 22 will always be the funniest thing to me, alright? The other day I posted a video where I was like, you sleeping around shows a lack of self-love. When I tell you that I got a lot of comments from people who were like, let people do what they want to do with their bodies. You live with your boyfriend and he hasn't married you, so we're not that different. What? If you feel defensive at the fact that I said that sleeping around means that you don't love yourself, I am justified to think that you are sleeping around. Then you coming here and saying that you and I are the same is the funniest thing ever. Because yes, I do live with my boyfriend, but guess what? I am actually sleeping with my boyfriend, not multiple men. So yeah, we are quite different. All the videos that I make where I speak about things that most content creators don't speak about, I make them specifically for my girls, okay? If you feel attacked most of the time, it's because you do not want to face the truth. It's the same thing when I made the video of self-confidence where I was like, a lot of women hate to see a confident woman, okay? Because you are a reflection of what they think they can never be. And guess who came for me in the comments? The same insecure women that I was speaking about. I just need people to understand that you cannot shame the shameless, okay? I do not need to live with my boyfriend. I want to live with him. You absolutely cannot shame me for the things that I chose to put on the internet. I was never forced to come here and tell you guys that I live with my boyfriend at the age of 22. That can't be the comeback that you think it is. You can't be like, oh my god, I sleep around, but you're the same because you live with a man that didn't marry you. I literally sleep with one man. Like, what are you saying?
Now me, being, you know, the type of bitch that I am, I don't give a shit that you're living with your man, you're not married, because you know how I feel about marriage. I like, it's not that, whatever. In this economy, people trying to share rent, like, you know, or maybe not. Maybe you're not even in desperate need. You just want to live with your man. I don't care. I don't care what your reason is. It's your reason, bitch. Live with your man. But that's me. That's me. I think what you're doing is okay. But then it brings into question why you can think you're better here. And your take is that at least you're sleeping with one man. You did not watch Intersections, and we can tell. You may be sleeping with that one man, honey, but we don't. The false sense of security as well. That's what I'm saying. The conservative teachings of have just the one partner, and then we just put taking care of yourself out the window. What do we do? Are we not getting regularly tested because we're in the relationship? Are we just acting like people aren't cheating at the rates that they're cheating at? It also it makes you put your guard down, and that is irresponsible. That is not a teaching that we should be putting out there. You're not safe. It's a false sense of security to feel like because you have a man, that means, you know, it's not going to happen to you. We often get the stories of the women who've been married for 20 plus years. They go to the clinic for whatever, or however many years, and they're pregnant. They go to the clinic and they run the test. They're like, ma'am, what's happened here? The husband is just like, yeah, well, I've been taking my meds for 4 years, bitch. I just figured you'd find out eventually, girl. What? That's not an anomaly. That is not this story that happened one time over there. That's a regular occurrence. You would know if you live in certain places. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? So the conversation of hookup culture, and she tried to have a balance of saying, no, it's ill, even if the boys are doing it. But it does not hold the weight it should because we live in a patriarchy. You saying it does not mean that the public is going to receive it like that. Virgins, okay? Women who have not seen or had a penis penetrate them are marrying men who have 8 children because patriarchy. Do you understand? So when you are saying things that feed into a narrative that has, like, historically and really in present day functioned as a tool to oppress women and shame us in our sexual desires, when you're going to spew that kind of rhetoric and say that and then think you have a cute balance by adding, oh, it's also ill when the boys do it, understand you've done nothing. You've done nothing with that except just use that same weapon to further make women feel shit about their sexual desires. That's all you've done. It doesn't hold the same weight because of the system that we're operating in. Girls don't think boys who sleep around are ill. Very few of us think boys who sleep around are ill. Very few. Do you understand? Girls are encouraged to keep themselves pure and blah, blah, blah. And their families willingly take the cows of a known philanderer and send their daughter with that man. So you do nothing. It's like The conversation is not going to balance out however you think it's going to. The impact of it won't be what you intended simply because of the structure that you exist in. It doesn't work like that. I don't know what to tell you, but it simply does not work like that. Okay? You need to just be responsible. Just as an older bitch, that's just what I can tell you. Have your experiences, interrogate why you're there. We don't have enough of the conversation around the causes of promiscuity, the causes of young girls ending up being hyper sexual. A lot of us don't sit down and unpack those stuff. And instead of saying things to girls like, you just don't love yourself, why don't we look at what the core cause of what that lack of self-love may become from? And you feel like running around with a bunch of different men who otherwise don't care for you, being irresponsible as well while you're doing all of this. Where does that come from? Because we know a lot, like the studies have like there to show that a lot of people who experience like a lot of sexual abuse find themselves trying to find validation through the same means that they were harmed, because it's all they know now. So instead of really interrogating things that lead women to behave in sexual like ways that are irresponsible and harmful, not necessarily just experimenting with sex and exploring your body. It's not the same thing. Instead of us interrogating that thing, we want to sit here, talk body counts, shame each other, like say a whole bunch of stuff instead of saying, how do you feel when you walk away from the situation? Are you still okay? Yeah, I'm good. I really just wanted to hook up. How do you feel? I feel empty. I don't feel good. I got to that point where I had to sit with myself and say, why are you feeling this? Oh, you're now at a different point in your life. You're yearning this thing. This can't fill it. And that's okay. I just stopped doing it. Like it wasn't even, I've never been a very, and we'll talk about that. There's another video I need to talk about that's still with sex, and I guess we'll talk about that in the next video with me as to why it's usually like a one person that even if I have no emotional, I don't want to build shit with them, they're still the person I'll do the hookup with for a stretch and stuff. It comes from somewhere. It's not because I'm watching my body count or I don't want this or I don't. For me, I've been able to realize that it comes from myself, like my body image issues, right? I'm not comfortable taking my clothes off for like this one and that one, that because of the kind of judgments that I have on my frame. Do you understand what I'm saying? So then once I establish a level of comfort with a person whom I'm otherwise not interested in really building a relationship with or anything like that, I kind of just like to stay there. It becomes my sweet spot in a way. And I kind of wish it wasn't. And because I could have sampled the buffet. It could have been a time, bitch. Because they weren't always nice. Sometimes it was just, oh my God, I gotta do it. What can I do? What can I say? I have to do it. Oh, and then I'd be done. I'd be like, oh, bored. It almost always felt like I was chasing the first time. Actually, not now that it like, yeah. It almost always felt like that. That's how I cut it the fuck out, because it was no longer just like doing the thing for me. That's really all I had to say. This Azamat, I think, came on and she talked about the fact that she's not saying people shouldn't hook up, but it's best to hook up with men who actually give a shit about you. And even that some people have issues with that. I don't require this. This is not a requirement for me. And I think my take on that is at least hook up with somebody who looks like they've some level of respect for women, which is hard to find, or at least they pretend on the surface to. I have this thing that men want to live out the stuff they see in the porn. And if you're hooking up with a person who genuinely does not like care for women and especially sees you as a vessel to live out that desire, you're in danger, girl. I think that's the part of the responsibility element where it's like, you gotta, it's a tricky thing that we are attracted to our predators and it's a hard thing to vet and weed out and be like, who's good. But when you're finding yourself in a position that you can give it some time to see exactly what you're dealing with, yeah, and men lie, right? But in as far as taking those extra measures and those extra precautions of what kind of person, if you can, then you are encouraged to do that, right? If you're in a hookup and just go, then great. You hook up and you just go. It is what it is. I just want you to be responsible with it. I want you to use a condom, my babe. That's it. I don't care. I don't care. I feel like what happens is that the girls transition out of their early 20s and they want to find a husband. And the tried and tested way of finding a husband is to go back to church and do all of that. So those teachings then teach you to shame your younger selves and shame your desires and feel a sense of shame about the things you probably still want and all of that stuff. And you find yourself being judgmental in how you speak to other people because you've now taken on the teachings of your faiths where you are praying to male deities and stuff, and they are telling you that yours is to remain pure and stuff, while the person on the pulpit actively fucks half of the congregation that he's telling to stay pure. Bitch, I cannot. That's all I have to say on that. Just be responsible. Be responsible. Teach the girls in your lives, because they're gonna do it anyway, you guys. You're going to do it anyway. Teach them about the contraceptives. Okay, teach them about the condoms. Learn about those things. Don't be ashamed to walk around having those things in your bag. That doesn't mean that you are just like this animal, this ravenous thing. No, it does not mean that. That's really my take on hookup culture. It really is. She can live with her boyfriend all she wants. It is what it is. She should still be taking care of herself. Because unfortunately, it is on you. Because men are dishonest. But that's all I have to say. Bye.